Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with the video.
Family can be difficult, I know that, but I thought that after everything I had been through, I had finally found peace. Guess I was wrong. And I was wrong about the one person I thought I could trust, my wife. In fact, this is probably the worst judgment of character I have ever made. The least I can say is that at least I had the last laugh. Anyway, I'll tell you guys a few things about my marriage and dating history before I just start ranking about what happened to me. I first got married when I was 24. My first wife and I met in college and we just hit it off. Now I regret jumping into marriage so young, but we were so in love and very naive. Life happened and we grew so much apart that on our third wedding anniversary, we were sitting across from each other at dinner and realized that we barely like each other. It was an amicable divorce without any mess, but it left me very lonely, and I thought that I would never fall in love again. When I was 34, I met Lily. We met at the wedding of a coworker of mine. She was a friend of the bride, and we started talking because we were seated at the same table. I was completely smitten by her. She was beautiful and really charming. At the end of the night, I asked her out on a date and she said yes. I was on top of the world. We went on a few dates and it was just amazing. For the first time since my divorce, I felt like I had a person who really understood me. I could see a future with this woman and this made me both nervous and excited. Lily and I shared a few similarities as well. She was also divorced, and she said that she had never been in a serious relationship since then. She told me about her two kids, who were aged 12 and 14 at the time. After we had dated for around 6 to 8 months, the two of us decided to take the next step, and she introduced me to the kids. It was love at first sight. Even though I had no children from my first marriage, I had always wanted to be a father. In fact, I was thinking of considering adoption before meeting Lily. Seeing Lily with the kids, I knew that I had found my family and I proposed shortly after. Luckily, the kids also seemed to be fond of me, so I was on cloud nine. We had a very beautiful wedding and things were just amazing. Lily works a very high-profile job in a consultancy firm. She works long hours, sometimes even on weekends. This has caused problems during her divorce as well, and she probably only got full custody because of the very expensive divorce lawyers she hired. After getting married, I decided to take a work-from-home job because I love being around the kids, and thought that since Lily makes more money than me, it just made sense for me to stay at home if I can. I talked to her, and she was more than okay with that. In fact, she told me that she was proud of me for taking that step for our family. The kids also were really happy with someone staying at home at all times, and we grew very close. This arrangement continued for 3 years without a problem. Well, that's what I used to think anyways. Looking back at it now, I wonder if I had missed signs all along the marriage because I was just too happy with the idea of finally having the perfect family. So Lily and I had been married for 3 years when I started to realize something was very, very wrong. Things started to go bad slowly. As I have already said, she had a very hectic job, but she started to stay out later and later, saying that work was getting stressful. It went to a point where she was only coming back after midnight while the kids were already in bed, and I stayed up waiting for her. Things got so bad that the kids started complaining that they never see her anymore. What they did not know was that their mom was also coming back increasingly drunk almost every night. When I finally confronted her about it, she told me that she is going out for drinks with her coworkers and that I needed to cut her some slack because of how stressful her job is. She told me that I would never understand what it is like to work in the real world since I work from home. This was quite hurtful to me. I know that I didn't really have a fancy job like her, but my work was equally important, and I also did almost all the housework, took care of the children, and went to their school events, which she was always too busy to attend. Sometimes I felt like a single parent, but I never brought this up in front of her or the kids because I obviously loved spending time with them and felt blessed that I could do so. After that conversation, it was just downhill slope for us. Sometimes Lily only came back in the morning and went straight to sleep in the guest bedroom. We started fighting almost every single day, and sometimes the kids heard us. Both of them were old enough to understand that something was going very wrong. Our eldest was just about to go to college, and even our youngest was in high school, and it's quite difficult to hide things from teenagers. I'm sure any parent reading this would relate. The worst was when one day Lily came home drunk when the kids and I were just having dinner. We could smell the alcohol on her, and her behavior was honestly mortifying. My youngest daughter was so upset by her mother's behavior that she ran into her room and refused to open it for anyone except her sister. After a lot of cajoling, I convinced her to let me in and calmed her down. This made Lily very upset, and she started fighting with me about how I had influenced her kids and turned them against her. My oldest daughter intervened at that point because I guess she just had enough. She told Lily that I had been a better parent than she had ever been, and that I don't deserve to hear such things. It warmed my heart to know that my kids supported me, but I told her that she really does not need to be involved with us adults and requested her to go back to her room. This made Lily absolutely ballistic. She told me I had no right over her children and screamed that they can't take my side over hers. Before she could say anything else in front of the kids, I grabbed her hand and dragged her to the backyard. It was back there that we went into fight that essentially ended our marriage. Lily was still super angry. If you've been around an angry, drunk woman, you know it's not a pretty sight. She told me that she hates me and she thought that I put on this good parent act just like to make her feel bad about herself. She told me that the only reason she was even married to me is because her kids need a father. I also got really angry at that point and said some things that I probably shouldn't have when she finally made the big confession. She told me that she was sick and tired of her life, and the only thing that gave her happiness was being with Daniel. All my anger instantly disappeared and got replaced by this weird stillness. Daniel is her boss. They had been working together for a decade. I asked her what she meant by that. She scoffed and told me that only I would be stupid enough not to notice every sign that said she loves Daniel, and they had been sleeping together for years. Did I mention Daniel was also married? Well, he is. I told her to get out. She just stared at me blankly. I screamed and told her to get the hell out. She told me that she doesn't give a single damn anyway and left. After she left, I had a complete breakdown. I had built my entire life around our family, and she had apparently just been using me as a stand-in parent. That was 4 days ago. She hasn't come back. The kids overheard everything that night. I really regret it because the last thing I want is for them to get hurt. Lily might be a terrible person, but she's still their mom. I've been trying to reach her constantly, but she doesn't pick up my calls. The kids refuse to call or text her, and I feel very guilty and confused about the whole situation. My wife finally came back. Guess what she has with her? Divorce papers. Well, not like I didn't expect it. Honestly, I was just kind of happy to see that she was alive and sober for a change. She came back and told me that she's sick of me and glad that we finally had things out in the open. She told me that Daniel had promised to leave his wife and they were finally going to be together. Every word she spoke broke my heart, but I put on a strong front and told her that I wish her all the luck for her new relationship. She scoffed and said that she feels sorry for me. She then started calling for the children. They reluctantly appeared. She told them that we were getting divorced. Both kids pretty much were like, "We know already." She then told them to pack their bags because they'd be moving out to a different place temporarily while she looks for a new place. It was my youngest who spoke. She told her mom that she's crazy if she thinks they would leave with her. Safe to say, Lily was not expecting this. She asked her not to be ridiculous and pack her bags. That's when my oldest stepped in. She recently turned 18. So she told her mom that as an adult, she can choose to live wherever she wanted and that she wanted to be with her dad and not an alcoholic cheater. This was way too much, I admit. Both Lily and I were shocked. I immediately asked her to apologize to her mom, but she refused to do so, grabbed her sister's hand, and left. You can imagine Lily's reaction at that. She was absolutely livid and told me I'll pay for manipulating her kids against her. She said her lawyers would destroy me and take everything I have, including the house, and left in a rage. It has been a few weeks since Lily came to the house. We've both gotten lawyers, and their advice is to consider divorce mediation since the case involves our children, and divorce can get messy. Since my eldest is not a minor, things are easier for her. She has made it very clear that she doesn't want anything to do with her mother. Things are way more complicated for my youngest daughter because she's just 16 and I'm not her bio dad. Her mom will probably get custody of her if the case goes to trial, even though she wants to go no contact with her mom, just like her sister. I'm willing to fight with all that I have for my kids, but I fear this will be a difficult journey. My daughters came up with something that made their mother back down. I swear I have no part in this. At our latest divorce mediation meeting, my eldest decided to be present. She told her mom that if she doesn't back off on the custody claim, our youngest would apply to get legally emancipated from her. She also assured that they aren't afraid to speak in court during the divorce trial. I don't think these kids understand exactly how complicated that process is, and it honestly shocked even our lawyers who were present there. Lily accused me of putting such ideas in their head, but I swear I did no such thing. I've told the kids from the very beginning that they're free to be with whomever they want. My eldest spoke up again and said that this is a decision they took by themselves, and that if we still decide to go for a trial, it's up to us. That was the first time I saw Lily look defeated. She muttered out a very, very angry, "Fine," and left. I later got a text from her saying I had ruined their family and that she'll never forgive me. I feel very conflicted. AITA here? NTA. OP, please don't feel guilty when all you've done is love these kids and spend all your time taking care of them. I'm honestly super impressed by your girls. I don't know where they came up with this idea, but I guess nothing is impossible for this generation. I'm so glad you finally have the family you've wanted for years. NTA, this is such a horrendously messy situation for your kids to be in, and they definitely are way too young for this, but you have done nothing wrong. Your kids hate their mom because of her own actions and nothing else. You're just a good dad, OP. Be proud of yourself. So my dad died when I, 16 female, was 7, and my siblings were 5 female and 4 male. Mom was remarried 14 months later. It was fast. She was not cheating. She just moved quickly. It wasn't great for me, but my siblings loved stepdad. And a year after he married our mom, they wanted to be adopted. I did not. They gave it another couple of years before bringing it forward anyway. A judge decided to speak to me and send me to a therapist. In the end, the judge declared he could not adopt me, but could adopt my siblings. Seems he normally approved adoption regardless, but he realized that I didn't secretly want it, but felt guilty. Mom said she would not let me be left out of that, but I never wanted it. The topic comes up a lot, and it upsets my siblings that they can't be adopted because I say no. They love him and call him dad and want him to be their full dad. Whereas I never saw him as my dad, and truthfully, I don't love him. I appreciate him for stepping up and being here, but he will never be as important to me as he is to them or as my dad and mom were. Mom and I have a shaky relationship now because of this stuff. My siblings sat me down a few days ago and said we needed to talk, that they wanted to be adopted. I told them to talk to Mom then. They said Mom will never let me be left behind. They told me how it would be for them if I said yes to being adopted, that my stepdad is a good man and it would be good for me and for him because it would show him that I love him. They don't know that I don't feel that way. I said I would never let another man adopt me and I only have one dad and I would not change that for them. They said that means they can never be adopted. I told them adult adoption is a thing if they want it, but the answer from me is never. They started to get upset and my sister cried. My brother was frustrated. My mom and stepdad told me I was being unfair by not trying more for my siblings' sake. AITA? NTA, absolutely. But your mom and stepdad sure are. There's no reason they can't go ahead and adopt your siblings. Instead, they're not adopting and blaming you for their decision. That's manipulative and deliberately cruel to all three kids. NTA. Sounds to me like Mom is attempting to manipulate you into accepting an adoption you don't want by using them. This is very unfair to you. I'm so sorry. You need to tell her again that she should let stepdad adopt them without you and reassure her that you won't feel left behind and that unlike them, you remember your father and don't want to be adopted by someone new. It's terribly emotionally manipulative of her and them to do this to you. Stick to your guns. Hopefully she will change her mind about this ridiculous package deal she's come up with and a happier solution will be found for your family. I had my daughter when I was really young, and I've raised her since she was little when her mom gave up. She's 14. Her mom reached out to me asking for her to come with her and with my daughters. Okay, she went over. Second time she's met her. They invited me as well, but I wasn't interested in going. But my daughter didn't want to go alone. When we did go at first, everyone was inviting her grandparents. Welcomed my daughter quickly and started asking her questions, and at first it was okay. It's relevant to know that my kid isn't fat. She's not even overweight, period. There was a lot of people, so there was a lot of food to eat. My daughter was making a plate when her mom came over, specifically to tell her to not put the many rolls on her plate. My reaction was maybe they just needed to save some for the guests, and I had no idea what it was about. Second time was when her mom walked over again and made her put back food. Told her that she didn't really need to eat so much and made her a plate with actually very little and 3 out of the 11 things they had made. I pulled her aside and asked her if there was a reason she was doing this so I could inform my daughter, but she said no, of course not. They made plenty and she was just helping her because there was too much on the plate. I said that she usually eats it and if wasted food was an issue, we will always take whatever she didn't eat home and she eats it then. I was trying to be the most open-minded and that this was just tone deaf. When we had sat down, my daughter ate everything on her plate, and her mom stopped her and said, "No, don't go grab any more because she will get more bloated." I told her to get some if she will finish it, and told her mom to not say stuff like that to my daughter. And don't make her try to worry about her weight. That's not a concern to anyone but her doctor. The last straw was when I went to the bathroom and came out to see her trying to take my daughter's plate away and throw it out, telling her that she didn't need any more food and to just listen when someone says stop eating. I walked over and grabbed both of our jackets and said, "Okay, let's go." Thanked everyone for the food. Her mom got mad that I was leaving and said that I was being overdramatic about this. I told my daughter to go to the car, and when she left, I said that she was so ridiculous to tell that to a 14-year-old. And just because she was overweight doesn't give her any damn right to project her insecurities onto my kid. She ignored that and said that I can't get it into my head that it's our kid. I said that the fact that she just ignored me telling her she's hurting her kid shows me she isn't ready to have her in her life. I'm told that leaving like that was wrong and bringing up her weight was a low blow, and that I should have just clarified to my daughter it was okay to eat it. NTA. She gave her daughter up and now wants to gift her an eating disorder and body image issues? I don't know what kind of messed up person this is. You absolutely did the right thing, and I'm glad your daughter has a father like you. NTA, you did the best thing for your kid. It wouldn't matter if your daughter was overweight. That is so not the way to go about anything.